Welcome to Modern Musings, conversations with the maiden, mother, and crone, where we look at ourselves and the world through the lens of the 21st century. Hi, and welcome back. I'm your hostess, Cindy Murray, and I'm watching Amber try not to giggle too much over here.
If only you'd hear our pre-podcast conversation.
It's not fit for public consumption. So anyway, we are three women who like to talk about a variety of different things, and some of them are not airable on
so
a
then
podcast.
we don't record, or
Right.
Actually we did record this. It's
No, it
just,
will be cut
it's
out.
not
Yes.
going to be on the podcast.
So anyway, this week we are we're hitting, or we're almost hitting July. This week we're kind of hitting our mid-year refresh. So that's what we're kind of we're trying to get everybody geared into, refreshing our goals mid-year. And this is something we've been doing. We do it with one little word a little bit too. We have a mid-year reflection. And then we, when we were doing Cultivate What Matters and other goal setting plans that we worked with, we would have a mid-year refresh. So we thought it would be good to come back and kind of talk about our goals that we have set for this year. I know we talk about them a lot of times, and in fact, we probably talked about a few of them last week, but we thought it'd be good to get kind of a little bit deeper with them and talk and kind of talk through them in a way that might help you pick up and progress with your own goals. So I want to just start with a reminder about the goals that each of us set at the beginning of the year, because I know we did talk about those. I'll start out by saying I barely set any goals because I decided there was kind of too much going on, and the goals that I needed to focus on were things I just needed to focus only on those things. And one of them was cleaning out my garage, and the other one was compiling and distributing and dissolving my husband's estate. So either absorbing it into my own whatever, transferring ownership, things like that. And so those were the two really big goals. I also have a goal to lose 50 more pounds. And then I had some goals about creating a budget and living in a sustainable budget. So, and there's some other things, but I'm not really working on those actively. The two that I'm actively working on are cleaning out my garage, because it's been a huge mess for years now, and working on my husband's estate to dissolve it. So, Amber, what about you? What were the goals that you set at the beginning of this year?
My big goal was to offload my 3 storage unit type things and get my grandmother's house ready to sell. And my other goal, it was to finish my house and make it more livable. I mean, like, it's livable, but I've talked about this on past podcasts, like redecorating and getting rid of stuff and moving stuff around and meshing my life with my husband's, because we lived apart up until like not long before we got married. Like, I moved in and stuck all my stuff in the house, and then like we turned around and got married.
Yeah, so you weren't even unpacking stuff because you were concentrating on that wedding.
Yeah. And so I mean, everything's unpacked now. It's just like getting it organized and moving around. And we had the goal to turn our front bedroom into a spare bedroom and our middle bedroom into an office / craft room. And yeah, like we've been working on that, and we're pretty close. I mean, there's always things to do.
Will be.
Like, there's always house things to do. But as far as like setting furniture everywhere, putting stuff up on the walls, And I was telling Kristen, and I think we were talking about this the last podcast, where like I just made like a gallery wall, and like, you know, I don't think I've ever lived at a place long enough to fully get things up on the walls. Like some of
Yeah.
these things that I had to put up on the wall, like pictures or whatever, have probably been in storage like for a good 10 years.
Mm.
A lot of things, like a lot of things I forgot that I had. So like everything's fully unpacked, repacked, like stuff got put into, because we have a little storage behind our house, stuff got put into that we weren't using. And then we also fixed our attic space up where we can stick stuff up there, which mostly houses the huge amounts of Christmas and Halloween decorations that I own, because I'm kind of fanatic about especially decorating for
I
Halloween.
want to talk some more about how you've progressed with those projects, because
Yeah.
you're kind of getting into that. I want to get to Kristen's first also. And then I'm going to have some questions for you guys, okay? So, Kristen, what were your goals? Remind us what goals you had set.
Oh, I limited myself this year on the goals. I didn't want to have like one goal in every category.
Right.
And so, ultimately, I had a learning goal to
Right.
go back to school,
Mm-hmm.
but still on the table. My goal was to get married to Scott. That was one of my goals.
Wow. Okay.
Well, because I knew it was gonna happen, so I set it as my goal because it was my relationship goal. So, and then my other goal was to move. So,
Wow.
and I'm in the middle of that. So, I'm actually ready to refresh my goals.
Right.
Because
Right.
I set, some quick win goals and some things that are like later on down the road. So I didn't set like a craft goal because I knew that I wasn't going to be doing any, crafty stuff.
Or nothing big
At
that
this
you, right,
point in
yeah.
time. Yeah, because I haven't touched my craft stuff.
Well, you've had it
since
packed up.
December
right.
daily. Yeah,
Right.
because that was the first room I packed up because I was like, I need to get this stuff put away because at this point it'll be a distraction. If I'm scrapbooking, I'm not
Packing.
packing.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I want to set some leisure goals and the other goal that I set was, to lose a certain amount of weight by the end of the year. I'm on track because I've lost like 10 pounds so far.
Okay.
So
We can get back to that too.
I need to reset, that part of that goal.
Right.
Though.
So that was mainly was that all of the goals that
Yeah,
you set?
that's pretty much it because I
Okay.
didn't have like a community goal.
Right.
I
I
wasn't
did not either.
specific on my financial goal. I just my goal this year was to get back into budgeting.
Right.
And so, now that I have a new rent amount and things like that, I'll need to reset my goal again or reset my budget,
Right.
and stuff like that. So
Right.
it's time.
Well,
to
and
refresh.
that's what I mentioned. One of my goals was to set a sustainable budget,
Mhm.
but actually that goal started out as a file my taxes on time this year. Or finish my previous year's taxes and file my taxes on time this year, which I did actually manage to do. But I want to ask you about both of you about any set practices. Did you set any routines or practices that helped you to get anything accomplished, or that you're still doing that practice?
I followed the Amber method this year.
Really?
I did. As much as I bag Amber on her goal setting method, I literally flew by the seat of my pants when it came to moving.
Okay.
The only thing that I did was each month I wrote down the things that had to happen that month. Because, like, obviously, with moving, certain things had to happen, the month that I'm terminated my lease.
Right.
I knew like I'd need to start looking for a house at least a month prior. So I started writing that stuff on like on my day planner has like a page, before like the weekly stuff starts. I just wrote down all of the little steps and things I needed to accomplish at that moment, that month. Like before this month ends, this needs to happen.
Right.
And some of them actually kind of got prioritized in the order that they needed to happen. And then I get a lot of joy like highlighting the ones that I've completed.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
really all that I did to hold myself accountable. I just made sure to pack a box every day, at least one.
So that is a routine. That's a great
and I
routine.
did.
Yeah.
I had set that routine to pack a box every day, and it's funny too because you had asked like how soon we'd be, unpacked and everything, and Scott said Saturday, and I was like, not going to be done by Saturday, but I'm literally almost done. Like,
wow. Okay.
probably had I not had, plans to do stuff today, I probably would have been done today. So I'm thinking that tomorrow,
Maybe
if I work on it all day tomorrow, I'll be done.
Well, that's good. Do you, Amber, with your goals? I mean, did you have a certain practice? Like, I know, like she said, she packed a box every day. Did you have anything you did every week or every day or anything like that?
Well, like for the storage unit, I basically like looked at like what was coming up in my life and like my husband's, and like I set like a firm date, like because we have different days off. So I set like on spring break we both had days off, right? Because his day's off on the weekend. So I set that firm date. I was like, spring break, we're going to go get stuff out of the storage unit and put it in a U-Haul and bring it. And then we basically gave it all to Kristen to sell in her garage sale. And then, so that like half of that storage unit was done. And so then I set another firm date that I was going to go down there and get like it completely cleaned out. And kind of like what kind of spurred me on the dates of things that I've been doing with that is that, well, like our economy is kind of going downhill and rent is going up everywhere.
Yeah.
Like everything is going up in price right now.
Yep.
And so they sent me a notice that the rent for my storage unit was going to be going up.
That's good incentive.
Yeah. And and I was just, and then around the same time they sent me a notice saying that my mortgage was going up.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, how am I going to offshoot this cost?
Yeah.
Because my storage units were going up to over $200, like close to $250. And my mortgage was going up about $250.
I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah.
Well, it's your escrow.
Yeah.
And your taxes.
The taxes.
So taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the rent and I had always like kind of looked at the storage units as like an extra rent. Or just like part of rent. And I didn't want to pay like that much money in rent. I had to like downsize. So since like the mortgage was going up and the rent was going up, I looked at my most expensive storage unit and I said, this is the one I'm getting rid of. So where I still have one that I pay for and one that's at my grandmother's house pretty soon. So now like I'm kind of back to paying what I was paying when I first started these storage units, like $100 less. So that's kind of helping with that. And so I'm hoping like my goal is by the end of the summer to have my grandmother's storage, like everything settled with my grandma's affairs. And even if I just have like that one storage unit left, I have like, before the end of the year, like, by the end of this year, I don't want to be paying for any storage units.
Right.
That's like, so like it was like kind of like the scare tactic to like get that done. So I had to set a firm date that I was going to go on this day, and that I was going to have this person help me and haul my stuff off to the junk, because the only thing left in that unit was stuff I wanted to throw away. And, of course, like human error happened, and like a couple of people flaked out on me and everything like
as
that.
happens,
But
yeah.
I was able to so what I ended up doing was donating all of the furniture left in that storage unit to the church.
Okay.
And they came and picked it up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they came and picked it up, and they have like a church garage sale once
right.
a month that raise money for the youth programs.
Okay.
So I'm going to go that route probably in the future with my other storage units. Like that seems like especially, well, the stuff that's not, that doesn't need to be thrown away.
Right.
So that seems like a solid plan. And they came and they did it. They had their own trailer and everything. Youth group kids came and helped, and it didn't cost me too much money.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Just like time and effort and paying the people to like actually like load it up and move it.
Okay.
And I'm glad, and that kind of like sits better with me that like that stuff has a purpose now.
Right. Right.
Instead of just going to the trash,
yeah, I really
it has a purpose.
I hate donating things to the landfill. I
Yeah.
really do. Our landfills are so full of things that we just throw away that could be repurposed in some way. And I really do. I would prefer the curb shoppers come pick through it
Yeah.
than to send things to the landfill. So
Yeah, unfortunately, it was like a remote unit, and I couldn't exactly
Yeah.
like set stuff out
right.
on the curb because nobody really drives like in that area.
Right.
So donating it to the church
But
was the
that
best
is a
option.
good cause. Yeah.
And probably like what I'll do like with a lot of stuff in my grandma's house is probably do curb shoppers or donating it to the church. It's better than just throwing it away. Like other people in my family, like their solutions just like to throw it all away. But our landfills are getting like way too full.
They are. They really are. They're
So if somebody else can use it and be functional, like I donate a lot of stuff from my house to my school this year and to my classroom.
Right.
And I know like I have great friends like Kristen and Christina and you, Cindy, that donate stuff to my kids all the time, and they really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I donated like a good portion of my book collection. I downsized book collection this year, and I donated a good portion of that collection to my students.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other teachers if they wanted a book.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
cool.
so, and then as far as like my other goal of like house stuff, I make it a routine to work on the house every Sunday.
Uh-huh.
And then Jason's routine is to work on the house because he's off Tuesdays and Wednesdays now. So his routine is to do like the things that I can't do, like tall guy stuff and climbing stuff, because he's like a monkey and he can just climb up there and do it. And so like with our gallery wall, he was like my muscle to climb up on the ladder. And I'm just like, put this here, put this there. And he did it. And I like wrote it and sketched it all out for him. And he did it
Nice.
for me. And his goal has been like his job in the house has been the front bedroom. My job has been kind of the living room and kitchen, and then his job has been kind of the bedrooms.
Okay.
And then like we both been working on like the bathrooms and stuff, and I guess I don't know about the craft room yet. Right now it's just like the overhaul junk room.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Craft
that
room
happens.
is always the last
last.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are so many things to go through and put and organize and everything.
You did have routine. You talked about your routines. So my routines, when I was working on my taxes, I definitely had some routines that I set up. So I found that I could make myself work on my taxes and my bookkeeping if I had some entertainment while I did it. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but to me, sitting there and just crunching numbers is so dry and boring.
Unappealing.
I didn't want to do it. And we're not talking about an afternoon of work. We're talking, I had 2 years of taxes to go through. No, a stack of receipts and bank statements. That's it. So I had to actually do the bookkeeping first, and then from there be able to run reports and stuff. So it was very tedious, boring stuff. So I found that if I worked on it while I watched TV, usually something a little mindless, like I can watch General Hospital and sit and add up a column of numbers because I don't have to pay attention to the TV too much. Or I also did it while I was on Zoom. We have a regular Thursday Zoom call that we do with our crafty friends. And I liked getting on the Zoom, and we're not even necessarily always talking to each other the whole time. We might talk a little bit, but it's like being in an office with other people rather than just being at home working on it by your slogging through this pile of paperwork, right? And so it was nice to work through it that way, and it helped me get through it. And I just got to where I would do a little bit every night, reconcile one checkbook or run 1 month of check stubs or whatever, something, something every night while I watched an hour of TV. And sometimes I would do more because I was enjoying sitting there watching TV and I felt like I was making progress. And I did a similar thing with the garage in that I chose certain days to work on it, and I scheduled, I've been off and on scheduling somebody to come help me work. The little girl next door likes to come help me. And so she's kind of my little, here, can you put this over there? And can you take this over there and help me sort these into these 2 piles, right? And we do a lot of that kind of stuff. And so we'll pick like 1 or 2 days a week and we'll work that way. And then I also did the same thing, like with Mark's estate. I set up a routine where every Wednesday is the day I work on that stuff. So Wednesday is the day, and I'll tackle like 1 or 2 of the accounts or 1 of the 2 of the business entities that were his, or 1 or 2 of the, royalty programs or whatever that I need to do. And I'll just focus on that till I get, and I've gotten some of them done. So like I got his Facebook page rolled over into a memorial page so people can still tag him and it'll show up on his wall, but nobody can go to his wall and specifically make any posts, and it keeps it from being hijacked by somebody else, right? So anybody can post and tag him and it will show up on his wall, but nobody can go to his wall and make a post. And then I swapped his Instagram over. I moved his websites over so that they're on the same account with my business websites, so that I can administer those from one location. So I set up, these routines of working on it on Wednesdays. That's the day I go take care of those things. Here's back to another question. Which project or goal do you feel like you've made the most progress on? I mean, I think Amber's is probably her house because she says she's almost done. What about you, Kristen? Of your goals that you actually set?
Well, I got married and
Well, you did,
I moved
yes.
into my house. So
Yeah.
I did them both. Yeah.
We need to talk more about this married thing. So you set that as a goal at the first of the year?
Not at the first of the year. I think it was like in February.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you just decided I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I knew it.
Yeah. Okay.
I told Amber too.
Well, she did tell me
She
that.
did,
She
yeah.
did tell me
I
that.
did.
Yeah. You told me too, but as I was in passing on the way out the door, and I was like, "What? Wait, we'll talk about this later," and then we never did.
No, like in February, she told me that
Oh,
she
yeah.
was going to marry this guy. She felt
Yeah.
it in her bones.
So, what goals are you stuck on? I would like to know what
No.
goals anybody's stuck on.
I'm always stuck on my health goal.
Health, definitely losing weight.
Yeah.
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 I think that's one of mine also. And I feel stuck on this one of Mark, and I think I talked about that last week about the closing out an estate of a loved one is a lot more complicated than everybody makes it out to be.
Definitely.
Even if you have,
You're still closing out your
you're
parents.
still closing
Yeah.
out your parents. How long's it been since your parents passed?
God, my dad passed in 2017, and
Yeah.
still closing it out.
Yeah. And so, I'm still taking care of things with Mark too. And, they make it out like, oh, they die and you inherit all their stuff and you move on. It doesn't really work like that, and especially if there are, things like, accounts that are open in their name that you don't sign on. If there are, royalties of any kind. My husband was a musician, and a producer and an engineer, so he has royalties and business interests in other bands and other musical entities that have succeeded him, I guess. So, I have to work on those things as well, and there, it's just a little more complicated. So that is probably the one that has frustrated me most, because it was actually a goal from last year that I've been trying and been very frustrated with, that it's not easier, that they make it so hard to do all these, you can't just send everybody the copy of the will and the death certificate and it's automatically done. It just doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. And, they make it sound like it does, but it doesn't. And so that's where I'm stuck there. And then the weight thing, I lost a lot of weight, but I'm stuck at this there's like a little 5-pound range that I kind of go to the top of it, and then I swing back down to the lower end of it, and I go back up to the top of it, and I can't get over that. It's like I want the pendulum to swing a little more and get me over the hump. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I'm frustrated with that. So that's where those two things are where I'm stuck. I say my garage is still a little stuck because I'm still working on it, but I have some clear things I need to do to go forward. And I need to hurry up and do it before it gets too hot. So, what's holding you back from moving forward? What of your goals, all of your goals, do you have anything that's holding you back from moving forward?
So on my weight loss goal of being stuck, we were making some good progress with going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And
then life happened.
And then we're like, oh, we finally started going back to the gym again. And then my work schedule changed.
Yes.
And that was the battle all along, was not having a consistent work schedule made my workout schedule
inconsistent.
Yeah. And I needed it to be the same so that I could make it a habit. And I was really struggling with that.
Right.
So now that then my work schedule kind of got to be the same, but it was like keeping me from going to the classes that I wanted to take because they weren't available to me at the time that I needed. So, and then I was like, I need to focus on moving.
Yes.
So, and now I'm done moving and I'm back. So, that's really one of the things I wanted to kind of like refocus on, was getting back into my exercise routine.
Right.
Um,
Me too. Me too.
That way, because I feel like the last time I went to the gym was like a month ago.
Yeah. Well, it's been a few weeks because we were going, just to clarify for everybody else, Kristen and I were going to the same gym, to the same classes for a while, and then her schedule changed. First, her schedule was kind of hit and miss, and so if she didn't go, I didn't go. But then I decided I needed to go whether she did or not, so I started going.
I'm proud of you for that.
And I was going, and then I had some schedule things that happened also that kept me from. So I haven't been in about 3 weeks. So I do need to get back to that. I am looking forward to that, and I'm looking at trying to find more slots, more time slots that I can slip a class into or something, so that I can make progress on that one, because that one definitely is one for me. And I notice that I always tend to steadily lose weight whenever I have a regular exercise routine. And it's when I get out of that regular exercise routine that I wind up stuck in that little limbo, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, in that 5 pounds that just keeps, shuffling back. So really what it is, and those 5 pounds are probably all water weight. So it's probably just I'm stuck at this weight, and I need that extra little hump to make it go.
Yeah.
What about you, Amber? Do you have is there anything keeping you from moving forward on any of your goals?
My work schedule.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's the usual, like
Time constraints. Just
time,
having
and
enough
I
time in the day.
spend most of my time in traffic, honestly.
Yeah. I hear you. That needs to change for you. That I feel so bad for you that you
Like I spend,
you have such a long commute.
yeah, like a good 2.5 hours,
Have
3
you
hours in traffic.
Have you ever thought about taking the train?
Oh gosh, that'd be longer. That'd be like 4 or
TRE?
5 hours in.
No.
Oh yeah.
The TRE? Really?
Oh, well, you have to factor in waiting for the train and the stops, and
I didn't think. I thought the TRE went straight from
because
Dallas to Fort Worth.
I would take it from Denton, and
Oh, you're talking about the A train or the
Yeah.
DART, right? Now that does have a lot of stops. I will guarantee you that. I was just thinking about the TRE because I thought it just goes straight from Dallas to Fort Worth. Boom.
I don't know. I'll look into it, but
It just occurred to me. I just wondered about that. If that would be
Should still have to get off and transfer.
right.
yeah, and
Yeah, but it's not too far, I don't
because
think.
part of my transfer when I commuted between trains was I had to wait 30 minutes for
Ugh.
the commuting train,
Yeah.
so it'll be the
I had that when I rode the bus. It took
Yeah.
me an hour and 10 minutes to get from one side of Plano to the other.
Ugh. That's
yeah.
awful.
So I think I discounted that a long time ago because I figured it would be the same distance
right.
driving or the same amount of time.
as driving. I was just
Especially
thinking
going home.
I was just thinking in the terms of if you were, because this is what happened with Mark. It did take him longer to ride the train, but during that train ride, he could do other things. Like
Oh,
he
I
could-
can't. I've already tried.
Oh,
Like
yeah?
when I was commuting from Denton and everything like that, I tried to do lesson planning, grading, whatever. I
Yeah.
tried to do other things while on the train, and no,
You
I
couldn't do it.
can't. I get too car sick.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
I have to look straight ahead.
Oh, wow.
I can't look down at all, or it'll make me sick, especially with all the stopping and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, that would change that. What this kind of goes back with that. What's holding you back from moving forward? Is there anything that you need to change? And I guess for you and me, Kristen, it is
Same. Yeah.
getting back to that
Routine.
That
yeah.
routine, getting back in that
Honestly,
routine.
Like, I just need more new routines because
Well, and
so
you're
much has
living in a different.
changed.
So much has changed. Your
Living
work
with different
schedule has changed.
people,
Your
you know.
your home has changed. You're in a
Mhm.
different part of the city now.
Yeah, I'm in a different town.
Yeah. And so yeah, there's a lot of change there. And like I said on the last, I think it was the last podcast last week, I was talking about Ashley's change in schedule actually will make a lot of changes for me as well. Are there any goals that anyone needs to refresh? I obviously I have already refreshed one of mine because I got my taxes done on time, and I then changed that, updated that goal to be a create and live on a budget. And but I don't really think any of my goals need to be refreshed. I think they're the same goals. They don't need to be restructured in any way or reworded or reworked. I just need to pick them back up and continue moving with mine. What about you, Kristen or Amber? Either one of you. Do you have goals that need to be changed or adapted to your current situation?
Oh, well, I was thinking about like maybe joining a gym,
Mm-hmm.
but gosh, with all the workout I get at work, it's hard to even think about going to the gym
Yeah.
after work, and I have to be at work like by 6:50 in the morning, so it's hard to go to the gym before work with all the
Right.
driving
Right.
that I'm doing. Like it'd have to be like late night type gymming or joining the gym next to my work, but like even then, like I'm up and down stairs all day, and then I have to walk 5 blocks to my car
Yeah.
to and from. Like that's I basically like I try to get my walking in on my break.
Yeah. Yeah. Do either of you have like a next step? What is your next step for any of your goals?
Well, for mine, my next step is to apply to the other college
Oh,
that
yeah.
for the fall to see if I can get in
Uh-huh.
to the fall semester at the other college and just kind of find out what my options are.
Right.
If I get accepted to the other college, what my cost difference is going to be.
Right.
So that I can have a better understanding, like which school would I have less credits, because they were looking at transferring my credits over.
Right.
And how much schooling would I still need. So that was kind of where I was at. And I didn't want to make a decision right away without checking out both options because the curriculum was different at both schools as far as what I needed to finish to become an art teacher. So, right now, that's, the only thing holding me back on that one is actually going and applying for the other school, and I need to do the financial aid again for this year. So that's my next step on that goal.
Okay.
Because I put it on the back burner. I wanted to wait until, like, dust settled, and I got, in a comfortable spot where other things weren't like, ew, do me first, fix this first,
Right.
So, now I want to go back though and just like look at the whole picture and determine if I need to reassess just all of my goals in general. Because, if I've completed some of them, now I've got new goals I want to set. Because there's new things that I want to do with my home.
Right.
And, but I also don't want to, like, set goals there and then start achieving new goals without completing the ones
before. Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think I just want to, like, reevaluate.
Right. Okay.
Completely, like, start over again.
Start a whole new set of goals. Okay. Well, that makes sense because you kind of started fresh again in a new house, new position at work and all that stuff. So, yeah, mine, I think for me, my next step is definitely, well, the big picture is to finish that garage, but I have very specific things that are my next steps. One is in progress right now. As I had mentioned, I had a bunch of old taxes stored in the garage, and those tax files need to be shredded, and then those boxes broken down and all of that recycled. And that will free up some space in the garage even. And then I have a lot of my mom's things. This goes back to, closing out her estate of things, and to sort through those things and decide what family, what things the family wants to keep and what things can be donated or whatever. There's not a whole lot of that, but it's mostly jewelry and knickknacks and photos and things like that. And so, that's, and that part of the holdup with that too has been having somebody to sit with me with those things, because I don't want to make those decisions for the family. I want the family to come and sit with me and go through those things and just be done with it. And, whatever anybody wants, take it, leave. The rest is done. So that's probably my next step there. And then with the lose weight is get back into my classes and my workout at the gym. And so those are my next steps. So is there anything else? Amber, did you tell your next steps? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, I mean, my next steps are just to finish the storage units and finish the house. That's like, there's not really like anything
specific.
Just keep going like I'm doing.
Okay. Well, do y'all have any other questions or anything y'all would like to add to help people through their goals refresh or anything? I will post these questions that I asked everybody on the Heard It on the podcast, and I encourage you, our listeners, if you are setting goals, to sit down and take a few minutes and answer these questions for yourself and see if you need to refresh your own goals. Maybe you need a fresh look at your goal and approach it from another direction, or try something different to get you out of that stuck place. So that's one of the reasons that we like to do this, is to just keep up that momentum, or to pick it back up again if we've kind of slacked off. And so next week, I believe Amber is our hostess. Is that correct?
Yes. We're talking about holistic medicine.
Okay. And so I look forward to that. That'll be interesting. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well, if nobody has anything further to add, I'd like to thank our listeners for sticking with us today. And I hope you'll come back next week for our discussion about holistic medicine. And have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.